FlexCable robot bypass boxes are designed to aid in troubleshooting internal servo cable failures on robots. They can also be used as temporary cables to keep the robots running until proper maintenance can be performed. The kit comes with the motor power and brake bypass box, the pulse coder bypass box, and the storage box for the cables. This particular kit comes with 6 cables. 2 of the cables, called extender cables, go from the robot base to the bypass boxes. These include the power brake extender cable and the pulse coder extender cable. The other cables, called temporary motor cables, go from the bypass box to the access motor. These include the temporary motor pulse coder cable, the temporary motor brake cable, the temporary motor power cable for access 1 to 3, and the temporary motor power cable for access 3 to 6. Safety precautions. Always follow all normal lockout procedures for your facility. Follow all safety standards as detailed in RIA Safety Standard R15.06 and UL 1740. Always disconnect power to the robot controller and any tooling installed on the robot before connecting or disconnecting the equipment included in this troubleshooting set. In this example, we are bypassing all of the cables to an access motor and utilizing both bypass boxes, as shown in the diagram. Normally, there would only need to be 1 bypass box and 1 of the 3 temporary cables. After powering down the robot, at the base of the robot, disconnect the existing power brake cable and the pulse coder cable coming from the controller. In this example, they are RM1 and RP1. Connect the appropriate extender cable from the bypass kit. In this example, we are using both cables. The next step is to connect the extender cables to the bypass boxes. Simply take the other end of the extender cables just plugged into the robot and plug them into the appropriate bypass box. Again, in this example, we are using both sets of cables in both boxes. Press the red button and ensure that the batteries are reading at least 6 volts on the display. Next, connect the cables from the controller to the bypass boxes. These are the cables that were disconnected from the robot base. The controller cables plug into the opposite side of the bypass boxes than the extender cables. Again, in this example, we are using both sets of boxes and both cables. Connect the temporary motor cables to the bypass boxes. Locate the correct axis needed by the labels. Each axis has jumper modules installed to make the connections when the temporary motor cable is not in use. Remove the jumper module, place it on the storage location. Connect the appropriate temporary motor cable. Shown is the temporary motor brake cable. On the power brake bypass box, make sure that you have the correct connection, power or brake. Secondly shown is the temporary motor power cable. In this example, we're using all 3 cables. Lastly, the temporary pulse coder cable. Connect the temporary motor cables to the access motor. Disconnect the internal motor cable. Connect the appropriate temporary motor cable. Shown first is the temporary motor brake cable. In this example, we are using all 3 cables. Secondly shown is the temporary motor power cable. If the temporary cables in this kit will be utilized to keep a robot running until proper maintenance can be performed, it is the user's responsibility to install and secure the cables to the robot in such a way that they pose no safety risk to any of the operators and are protected from damage by the normal movement of the robot. Lastly shown is the temporary motor pulse coder cable. After completed, restore power to the robot controller. Power up the robot, clear the faults, test the axis in question with the Teach pendant. If it works, then the problem is confirmed to be an internal servo cable. If you have any further questions about the flex cable robot bypass boxes, please contact your salesperson. Thank you.